All right. This is just what I'm kind of going off of, right? So this, we're on the weekly. This down close candle, not really any importance to me. We never took any sort of low, any sort of major swing low, or never rebalanced this gap. And right now, it looks like a potential consolidation of price since we took this external range high, which is former all-time high, and we've continued to close back inside this range and then just deliver lower so far. Um, Going into the daily, same sort of thing, right? I called this move down, and I was interested in this low, and then potentially this low, and we got a reaction off of this low deep into the EQ or even OTE of this range. You can see OTE to the penny pretty much, and then offered some sort of reaction higher. Um, this down close candle, even though we closed above, has no significance to me. It's too small, not a large candle body, and also sitting inside of this. So not really anything important to me, and you guys can see this really hasn't offered any sort of support either. Um, Not really rushing into anything. The only thing that I could see potentially is us continuing to consolidate inside of this daily for value gap, and then maybe have another price leg higher. But since for now we go to ES. ES is also looking kind of weak as well, and you can see that on Thursday, ES made that new all-time high, and Nasdaq hasn't. So potential long-term high up here being put in, and then we could look for more downside. But so far, there's no reason to look for anything short bias until I would say we get some displacement through this low. So sort of kind of just like a waiting game on the 4 hour, same thing. I'll be waiting for one side of this range to get hit. I'm not going to look for a potential area of a reversal from here since this is a failure swing. And if we look at um, ES, there's no SMT there either. So I will be waiting for this range to be broken, and then the reaction at either side of this will tell me most likely where price is going to go. Um, if we do form a potential SMT in here, then maybe you could be looking for something. But ideally, when you have this close of a swing low like that, I don't like to trust the SMT away from that. Um, YM sort of just literally doing whatever it wants. See this YM, I'd be looking for continuation. Like this is a significant weekly down close candle that we closed above. That it did what? It rebalanced in an inefficiency. Respecting the CE of that gap, also took a short-term swing low, and then we close above here, and this should be acting as support. This will be a intermediate term low for all-time highs. So YM, it would be nice to be looking for some longs during this week for sure. Um, Same thing, really wouldn't treat this as an order block. You could, not my favorite, but daily bullish for value gaps still acting as support, so no reason to fade YM. Same thing here, right? What does it do? Comes down, clears out all the short-term lows, rebalances daily for value gap, and we get expansion higher on Friday. So no reason to be bearish on YM. We have this short-term high here, and then the all-time high, which would most likely be getting hit this week. Um, Really, this weekly order block is my main focus, and you can see the reaction there from last week. Um, yeah, so patience on on ES and Nasdaq. We go to the 4 hour, same thing. Not going to try and predict inside of this range. No reason. So I'll be waiting. That's pretty much. And we can look at gold real quick. Gold is obviously bullish. I told y'all that however long ago during last month or over here in July. Actually, it was July 1st. I said that this is most likely going to be a protected low. I just like the reaction off of here, and then we closed above. Even though we got close, never took it, and we're finally starting to displace. And as you can see, once again, another short-term low getting taken, another large candle body getting closed above, using it as support here inside of the daily for value gap as well. And so what do we have? Again, we have an order block, and then we have another series of down close candles that get closed above after running out short-term lows. After rebalancing inefficiency, this would be another order block, or in this case a propulsion block. And you guys can see the difference in the move here that this one created, and then the propulsion block that created. Look at the large candle bodies on the daily candle, just offering consistent expansion day after day. So this would be the draw, all of these equal highs up here, and then of course all-time high. But after expansion, you can expect consolidation. And so when you have this many days of consecutive expansion, I wouldn't be rushing into trying to catch a trade onto gold. But all I need is a 4-hour or higher PD array in this case, and then a 15 or 30 minute or even 5-minute CSD to offer some sort of continuation out of here, but I wouldn't be expecting that so quickly after such a large expansion happened last week. I'm not going to look at Euro, but we can go over any questions if anybody has any, and then I'll show you guys the trades that I took when I was in New York. Yo, what up, Swampster? Big Swamp Daisy. Yeah, red folder this week. Hella red folder this week. It's going to be hopefully a really nice trading week. New York was lit, bro. I gained 8 pounds. Ate so much food. I literally just walked around and ate. It was lit. Nah, dead ass. That's what I bought running shoes before I left, so I had to crank a run today. Yeah, I can chart palladium for you. I don't even know what that is. Some metal, I guess. You guys have any questions in the outlook? Once we take these highs on golds, do you expect reversal or consolidation? Consolidation. I'd be expecting consolidation after these highs here. I'd be kind of surprised if we would just blast right through these. What's the ticker for that? It's no way, it's just PA. Is it? Oh yeah, alright. This looks kind of terrible. What the hell? I guess this is a significant swing. That was taken. Closed above. Not even though it's not a large down close candle, but we're on such a large time frame. So I would give it more importance. Sitting inside of this. And pretty sharp rejection after taking this high, which I don't like. Boss hog. So I would definitely not be rushing to try and long this. Like, for me personally, when there's such a large, right, obviously we could be putting in a potential reversal down here, but we took a significant high, or two significant highs, whatever one you want to use, right? Closing back inside the range, and then you have displacement, and we're on the weekly time frame. So like, this is important. Even though we have a weekly fair value gap, I'm personally not longing this here. Can you miss out on the move? Yes, but I'm not trying to catch the potential reversal again for another leg higher. Because to me, I'm not trying to fade this, since the higher time frame is bearish, right? It'd be different if the entire time frame was reversed. But just because we took out all these swing lows, etc., we're closing above, doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to have more continuation. Obviously could, but something on the daily time frame is what I would most likely be looking at. Maybe like a inversion of this gap, or a closure above this candle. I'm not going to use this one. Doesn't have any significance to me. Or you could wait for the breaker to form low, high, lower low, potential higher high. This would be your breaker. We close above that, then that would be most likely a good time to buy, and then you could ride some of this up. That's not an order block, right? Which one? Yeah, no problem, boss hog. Beginning of June. Was I on the weekly? Beginning of June. Yeah, I don't know what time frame I was on, so it's a little harder. Weekly down close. Beginning of June. This one right here? Or this? April, sorry. No, this one would not be an order block to me. I mean, like, it can be, right? It rebounds inefficiency, but this isn't the sort of candles that I'm looking for to offer support. I don't like the large upper wick. I don't like the small candle body. So this is what I mean by like picking higher probability order blocks. Like something like this would have way more significance to me. Failed to take the low. Took out all of these lows, right? And then we have a candle closure above. So and then let's look at what you said. Beginning of April. Um, oh, so this one that we were on, or yeah, this one. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, that's what I would be. This is something of significance to me personally. All right. No questions. Let's go over the trades. I gotta bring up my Top Step X real quick, so I gotta blur out my further. Because I didn't alert it because I woke up at like 6:30 in the morning, but I took that long that I told you guys that I was going to take overnight. I went long, but I ended up going break even after I was already up like 50 points because I didn't want to see this 30-minute order block break. So this is Wednesday. I don't even know if people even took it. But oh yeah, so this was the trade setup on the 4 hour. Yeah, I remember. This is what I was looking at. Uh, down close candles, close above. Fair value gap, and then we have a low, a high, lower low, and a higher high, close above. And then we have an external range high acting as a draw, and then we have this up here, and then all, of course, the stacked equal highs. So, what I did was I took a or I said you could take a starter position here. I took both my contracts. I went long right off the opening price here of the breaker, and my stop loss was at the 50% of this breaker. So this is what my thing looked like. And then my TP was going to be 2R, which was like not too much above this. Actually, I don't think my stop loss was that large. It was more of a, it was at, oh yeah, it was at 31. So whatever that was. So 47 points. That was my stop loss, and then 2R would have been here. So I got filled, and I continued to check my phone a little bit until it got to like 3 a.m. or whatever. And so when I woke up, this is what I saw. Down close candle, 2 short-term lows taken, and this was created at a key time, right? During that London session, 4:30. So to me, now this should be a protected low. I have that breaker entry, and my stop loss, if I do move it to break even, I am completely okay with getting stopped out. We have down close candle, we have a lower time frame breaker, and we also have this 30-minute FVG. And so as soon as I saw this when I woke up at like 6:30, I was like, okay, yeah, there's absolutely zero reason for price to come all the way back down here to stop me out before going higher if I'm correct. I saw I had all the failure swings, and so I moved my stop to break even. Again, same thing. Price continues to go up, and then just wicks the high right above midnight, and I got stopped out overnight when I wasn't awake. But the trade ran, if you go from fill to the top, trade ran 42.5 points, but I was break even as soon as we put in this order block here. And that was the logic. And then you guys can see I was just wrong on my draw. It went lower, and then higher, and then was all retarded. So that was that. And then the PM session trade that I took during 1 o'clock was the same logic, but this is what I was looking at. So I went long at 115, and this is just sort of like a signature that I've just seen so many times that I've just trusted. So failure swings at the high, right? This is our external range, and then you have this high up here at 11:30. Down close candles, 30-minute, get closed above here, and the 30-minute FEG was using or being used as support. I like the candle bodies continue to close back into the range. So I looked at the 15-minute, and this is what I saw. I saw that we put in this 15-minute gap, and I like the reaction off of this low here inside of the 15-minute fair value gap. So to me, when I see these things, and you can see how price is wicking into this lower fair value gap and then closing all the way back outside of the range. When I went to the 5-minute, I saw that this 5-minute here was there, but the thing that I was looking at to confirm my bias on this trade was just this 3-minute CSD here, which is the ideal entry. I wasn't actually looking at the charts yet, and I entered at 3:15. I got filled as soon as we tapped into this fair value gap, and my stop loss was I got filled. What time frame did I get filled on? The 5-minute? Yeah, I got filled on the 5-minute. I got filled here, and then my stop loss was below the 50% of this fair value gap here, middle line. And yeah, I used like if you use this thing here, I use the quadrants normally for a stop loss. So my stop loss was at the 0.75 of this, and that was all she wrote. I got tagged for my 2R partial somewhere up here, and then I held a runner for the high, and that got hit as well. So if I look at the exact fills, I forgot I barely trade ES, but see the difference between NASDAQ, right? We have this same external highs up here, but down close candle, closed above, fair value gap, and so this is why I took ES, just how clean it was. Very fast dip into that. Also took this low here, and then breaking it down again to the lower time frame. Same thing, 3-minute CSD, which is the ideal entry. And no, that was an SMT, but same thing. I entered off of the closure here. Same thing, but much less, just a lot cleaner. Entered at 493, and then TP was 6,500 and a quarter. And my stop loss was 50% of this wick. It's like it was a little less than a 2R, 1.87. That was that. Remove all of this. Let's go to the 4-hour. Alright, Thursday. So, this is what my eyes were looking at. Just on the 4-hour, just pick the short-term swing low. You're going to see if we would have some sort of reaction off of that, which we did. And since this is the down close candle that we closed above, I'm expecting this low to be protected at least until this high. So we did take that on Wednesday. And aggressive close back into the range, but this is why you just have to kind of form your own view on price. So pretty ugly range, but this is how I was able to form this trade idea. So you can see here's 18, right? Thursday open, failure to break this low, and then just open load, and then expanded. So price put in an hourly for value gap, used that as support, and then ran away. Large expansion. I'm expecting this high to now be hit, and we also put in another fair value gap here. So all I need is an hourly or higher PD rate for an intraday trade to be able to look for a continuation. So what I'm doing is I'm waiting for my next key time, which is 9:30, and also 10 o'clock, because that is that new 4-hour open. And so this is what I was looking at. Hourly PD ray being used as support. We drop in to the lower time frame. You look at the 30-minute, clear down closed candles, getting closed above. Check if there's any SMT or not. Nope. So close above, right at 8:30. And this was the day of news. So if I'm expecting a potential low to be put in, I want 8:30 to be expanding away, which it is. We go to the 15-minute. We have a 15-minute fair value gap. Let price play out. And so this is the trade that I was able to take. So price failed to come back into this fair value gap, and then 9:30 opens, hits the high, and then comes all the way back in the range. So I'm not obviously just buying this random 15-minute fair value gap after my draw was hit, so I'm waiting. And at this point, after such an aggressive move back into the range, after taking the high that I wanted to try and get a trade into, I'm waiting for the next key time, which is 10 a.m. And I wanted to see how this 4-hour candle closed. So this would be my first potential area of interest, just on the 15-minute. It's just the closest swing low that is relative to this one. And this is London low. So ideally I want that to be protected as well. Doesn't have to be, and I could be wrong. So that's why you just wait. I want to see what price does. takes out this short-term low, and then immediate springs back into the range. So when I'm looking at this, I see this as a potential area of reversal. So on a lower time frame, this is just a phase of consolidation, and then we had an expansion that hit our draw. 8:30 did what I wanted it to, and 9:30 took the draw early. And to me, when I'm expecting more bullish prices, and when you have this such a large aggressive move, and then a failure to displace to the low that I'm looking at, and this sort of reaction off of midnight, I'm expecting now that this is just that 9:30 Judas swing. And so if we look at how the 4-hour closes, you can see it's very lethargic, but that doesn't really mean too much for me because I still have higher draws, right? This high, which was taken, but this here, and like I said, with the area of reversal or the potential area of reversal that I'm picking, and this sort of reaction, this is just kind of where I go to the lower time frame to confirm my trade idea. And so in this case, I used the 2-minute. This is that order block that I'm looking at. And why this candle? Well, down close candle that ran out all these lows is using midnight, and we're also inside of an hourly PD array. So I'm not just buying this right away. You can, but to me, when my original draw was already hit, I don't need to be catching the first reversal profile. So what am I looking for? I'm looking for a continuation entry. So what did I do? I was looking on the higher time frame, and I just looked at the 5-minute. And yes, even though we were rejecting from this, and people would see this as an inversion gap over here, and you could be shorting this. To me, when I understand that price has been in a bull market, we have a 9:30 draw on liquidity up here, and we have a potential reversal before that new 10 a.m. candle. You guys can see this 2-minute down close candle was formed before 10 a.m. And if we mark out the 10 a.m. opening price is opening lower first. So now I'm expecting price to continue. So that is why I just bought this 5-minute FVG. My stop loss was based on this 3-minute down close candle wick. And then TP was 2R. And then this high up here. Actually, my stop loss was the 50% of this wick, I believe. Yeah, because this ended up being like a 3-hour win for me. I made like $300 on this day with the partial. That actually almost did. Yeah, I almost did get stopped out. I remember. But I just kind of let it do its thing. So partialed, and then TP2 was hit. And this is why you kind of have to have lower expectations for the week that we had. So we had a large expansion last week. We had almost no news this week, and we're closing in on the end of the month. So that's why I also didn't even really want to hold for this high. I was content with just taking a partial at 2R. And I was okay with letting this one go for this high. I knew it didn't have to be hit, but I obviously that is a potential draw. And we did have highs above, but also understanding that we already kind of are late in the day to continue that expansion. That's why I was okay with taking my full position off here. And I think price, I'm not sure what price ended up doing. I think price went higher. Yeah, but not really a large expansion, right? Kind of lethargic into the day. But that was that idea. Just literally anticipating this to be a potential area reversal inside of this hourly for value gap, and then seeing that the 2-minute order block was put in, not buying the initial potential reversal. I don't need that. Trying to play the continuation, and that was it. The rest was history. And you could even look for again another lower time frame entry, something like this. And you can even get even better risk reward. But that would be all for that day. You guys have any questions? And I took one more trade on Friday. Alright, sorry. Um, so sort of just like this price action up here. You guys kind of notice how this looks pretty similar, or at least on the daily, right? We can see how this sort of candles looked almost the exact same as this 4-hour sequence. I'll show it one more time. Same thing almost, right? So noticing that and then seeing how there was no PD arrays left behind on the 4-hour, this is why I was bearish. Just understanding that price should not be having this sort of a rejection after taking this high in a bull market. I don't believe, was there news on Friday? I don't even know. I don't think there was. But going into the day, this is what I was looking at. If we mark out 18, new day open, price just opens and then goes completely lower. Hourly PD arrays being respected. And 3 a.m. key time does what? Runs out a short-term high above midnight into an hourly PD array and then displaces lower. So what am I looking at? This low, this low, this low, and not really this low just because it's such a large wick. Normally kind of hard to get through. If you look at the 4-hour, same kind of thing. I don't love targeting these. So my main focus was really just trying to get a trade into one of these initial lows here. Ideally this first one. That's the easiest and the most low-hanging fruit. So I'm just chilling on the hourly. And I see that we put in another hourly for value gap. Price is using us as resistance so far. And so this is what I was looking at. I was expecting one of these to act as resistance. We go into the 30-minute, and then the 15. Nothing really going on here. And of course, I'm waiting for 9:30. So this is exactly what 9:30 does. Before 9:30, 8:30 does what? Runs out a short-term high inside hourly PD array, and then we close below. So on the lower time frame, I was unable to get a trade inside of here beforehand. So to me, all I'm trying to do now is just play a continuation either off of this breaker, which would be your high, low, higher high, lower low. So ideally we can get a retest here or a retest of this order block and then a continuation entry into all these swing lows. That did not happen. Price just knifed through everything. And so this is what I was looking at. All of my draws were pretty much smashed. But I knew with such large displacement like this, I'm expecting that continuation of the 10 a.m. candle into where? Well, potential continuation into this low. And ideally this is where I took off my first partial, which I'll show you guys here in a second. Same thing, right? 4-hour low. Don't really love targeting these, but since price took this one out and this one was so close to this, I was expecting that to act as a draw. But when I'm expecting that new 4-hour candle to continue price lower, this is all I need. 15-minute PD ray to act as resistance, and then we just get that lower time frame change in the state of delivery, and there was SMT here with ES. So to me, that is absolutely all I need for a continuation signature lower, and I'm willing to put on the risk. And I love how that we made relative swing lows. You guys can see what everybody likes to say is trendline liquidity. Very nice stacked lows to target. And I took this on the 3-minute time frame here. Price came up, rebalanced that inefficiency. This was that same 3-minute order block that I wanted to see support price earlier. Why? Well, you can see there's not a single up close candle until this one here. Uses as resistance. Another up close candle that rebalanced inefficiency. And if we mark out the 50% of this wick, what's price do? Respect that beautifully. That is also inside of this gray box, which is that 15-minute fair value gap. So I'm not just shorting the 15-minute fair value gap. You can, but all I'm looking for is that lower time frame continuation signature, which is just this up close candle running out a short-term high inside of a PD array, inside of another order block. Going short here. Stop loss was at this candle high, and my first take profit was this low here, which is over a 2-hour trade. And then I was holding one this day for this low just because I, again, was expecting continuation. And I knew this was most likely going to be hard to get through, but I was completely content with holding a runner for this day. So I actually only took a 1-hour winner on Friday, but I was completely okay with that. So I actually took off at 2R, not at the low, but this low barely did get taken. You guys can see right there. I believe the low of this candle is 415. Actually, it didn't take it on here. I think it took it on the micro, so it made equal lows. But I got partialed there at 2R, and then I was holding my last runner for here. But stop was break even after the partial got hit, so I'm only made. Let me look. And yeah, TP was 2R and held the runner, and I got stopped out. So I noticed this as well. So to me, when I am short biased, right, I'm expecting more continuation, and we again rebalance this inefficiency. We then close below this. I'm expecting this candle body to act as support or resistance. And in this case, price didn't want to continue lower through these lows. So you can see it made a new low, eventually took out this swing, and then just went back up. But that was the logic and why I was okay with my stop being break even, because my entry was like right above the 50% of this candle body. So I would like price to use this lower wick, and then of course the 50% of the body could also be used as support, but large retracement, and then price ended up going higher anyways. But those were the 3 trades. I made 3R on Wednesday, 2R on Thursday, and then 1R on Friday. There was core PCE on Friday. Was that 10 a.m. news, or was that not red folder? I literally don't even remember. I remember looking, but I don't remember. It was red folder. All right. I'm neutral right now, Quan. I'll show you one more time what I was looking at. How does he process so much information so fast? I literally just like, let me try and help you real quick, because it's kind of just like no reason to fade being bullish, right? Nothing about this on the higher time frame is bearish. We have a potential like high up here that's going to be hard to take most likely. But bearish SMT without displacement means nothing. So I'm not expecting this high to like never be able to be taken, right? I'm not looking at this as a 4-hour CSD just yet. You can see that like the only swing low that we took, we failed to displace through so far. So this is just like a potential area of reversal, even though I would like this to get hit first. Doesn't have to be, right? This is just a swing point or sell side, an obvious sell side liquidity pool, right? Very easy to spot. Like whenever, if you guys do the homework for the old classes, like this would be a swing low, swing low, swing high, swing high, swing high, right? Obvious points of liquidity that you're easily able to see. That is where I'm framing my trade ideas from. And ideally, they're just the external ranges or the most significant swings. So that's why I was telling you guys earlier, I don't love to use this low. I would rather use this low because it is the extremes of the range. Does that make any sense? Yes. Okay. So that is just literally what I base my trade ideas off of. And then all I need is an hourly or higher PD array. Ideally, I have a 4-hour PD array, but an hourly or higher is fine. And then just understanding, like, is that day going to offer a potential move? Like, is it a no news Monday? Okay, it's a no news Monday. I'm most likely not going, or we are most likely not going to get some sort of large expansion that day. Can it happen? Yes. Am I going to be trading? No. Then you go to a Tuesday with red folder news at 8:30, blah 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 blah. You have a key level that's being met. Then you're expecting continuation out of the hourly or higher PD array, and then you look for that lower time frame confirmation, which is anywhere from a 1 to a 15-minute change in the state of delivery or a fair value gap entry model. That's it. But you have to have all of the higher time frame bias, and ideally there's SMT at the relevant swing that you're looking for too, because that will confirm that you are most likely on side. So all of that, and then pairing that or blending that with like the time aspect, being like, okay, is there a potential reversal before the high impact news? If no, then wait for the news. If you think there is a potential reversal put in, then your news folder should be continuing price in the direction that you were expecting it to go in. So if say this is the SMT and we ran out the swing point, and then we have don't actually look at the time. Just say this is like a London low, and then 8:30 has news and it drives higher. Well, now we can assume that London low is not protected, and then now all we're looking for is that continuation entry, anything from after 9:30 into your other highs above. And same thing for shorts. Yeah, this is all being recorded. Say it one more time. Which part? Life impact. The red folder. So ask yourself, like, first of all, which way is the daily candle most likely to go? If you cannot answer that question, you should not be trading. Say you have an answer for that question, and there's high impact news that day. Ask yourself, you should be, or like, I don't get on the charts until like 9 o'clock, so it's almost always after the 8:30 news drivers. But even before then, it doesn't matter if you're on the charts before or not. If you are able to frame the direction of the daily candle, and then you have to go into the next question needs to be, is there a relevant level that we are trading away from? And it should always be the most extremes of the ranges. Again, if there is an answer to that, which is a yes, then that is the only time that you should be looking for a trade. Then, if there's high impact news with that, if there is a potential area of reversal that you've already expected. So in this case, again, say this is the swing point that you're expecting price to reverse from, and that happened before the news. Pair that with SMT, and then the news continues to expand like this, you know that your low should now be the low of day, and then you can expect to trade away from that. So the news drivers should be validating your bias. And if they don't, you're either wrong or the day is going to do nothing. And so, of course, there's days that you're going to be wrong and you're able to adapt and flip your bias. Or just simply don't trade. But that is why you have to go into the day anticipating what you want to see. And if price action is not revealing its signatures to you, that it's confirming what you're looking for, then you're either, again, wrong or the day is going to do nothing. And a lot of that time, if you guys want to find out that the day is not going to do nothing, try and formulate a bias going into a no news Monday and then see that price just wicks around all day. Like this. I don't trade, or I trade till like 11, if so. So we mark out, here's Monday. This is a better Monday, but here is 12 o'clock. And here is 11. So majority of the time, like, are you able to trade this? Yes. But a majority of the time, price does not have this clean of a move on a no news Monday. You just go back through your charts and anticipate that. Swing highs to determine dull. Sharp moves from swing highs or swing lows means that high or low will be protected. I always like to start with nothing is certain, but yes, the way to confirm a potential high or low is with SMT at the potential, or SMT with that external range high or low being taken, and then you want expansion away from that area. How are reversals confirmed? It's always going to be a V-shaped pattern. It's going to be expansion met with expansion, like this. If you look on the 4 hour, it's very easy to see. Here is a good example. Expansion met with expansion. See this? V, V, V. It's always going to look the same. And you can go on the lower time frame and it looks the exact same. Expansion met with a V-shaped pattern, met with a V-shaped pattern, met with expansion. Yes, sir. SMT with expansion will most likely find you a protected high or low. So to find your bias, do you tend to look at the daily candle from the day before? Yes and no. I always start on the weekly. If nothing is really prevalent on the weekly, which there really isn't, this is why I went over this at the beginning. This isn't really, like, this is this first swing low that is, obviously that is a swing low on the weekly, that is anything relevant or significant to me. And so you have, if you break this down into like the most recent areas, this is your recent swing high, this is your recent swing low. Then if you break it down into a lower time frame range, you have this range low, this range high. If you break it into a higher time frame range, what do you have? You have this range low, and then of course this range high. So you see how we're stuck in the extreme of this range so far? This is why most likely I will be waiting for one of these to get taken. It's just the easiest way to not get chopped up. That's what I was saying earlier. I don't love to trade away from a swing like this because this one is so close. And we have, so far, we have expansion lower, even though we're not closing below this or expanding through the low, but we did create fair value gaps on the way down, and this technically is a 4-hour order block. Is it the most high probability? No, but it is still a large up close candle, and we did have expansion away after taking out these short-term highs above here. And same thing that I was showing you guys earlier, the failure to continue through this high, which was a previous daily high, right? And the expansion lower looks the exact same as it does up here, just on the daily time frame. So that is why I will most likely be waiting. But if we get some serious displacement through this area, then I could be looking for a reversal or a continuation higher into this high, and of course, all-time high. So that is why I will be waiting to see what the higher time frame does. Yeah, I won't be on the charts tomorrow. You guys should not be either, but I cannot stop any of you for doing that. What are you looking for when we take the external you showed in the larger range we're stuck in? What are you looking for when we take the internal? So, like on the daily, it's just the easiest way to see. So, like this is how you can expect continuation into these highs without obviously being like a hindsight trader. So, you guys, and this is something that I've just started to understand. It's like the way the daily candle closes back inside the range or through the range will tell you what you need to know. We've already understood that we are still in a bull market. There's no reason to fade this move up. We understand that this low doesn't need to be taken. Price is at a deep discount here. So there's no reason to continue to chase, especially with the reaction off of this low, right? See how this swing low here, price takes this low and then closes all the way back inside the range. So that's where, again, you would be playing the waiting game. So now, since Friday expands, we understand we're in a bull market. There's no reason to not continue to look for longs. Even though we had displacement here, we kind of just long until it doesn't work. This is why, yeah, again, though, you can wait and have a nice continuation day or trade this Tuesday candle to the high. So we have this external high up here. And if this candle wasn't here yet, I'll show you what I would be looking at. So this is obviously Monday. We're going into Tuesday understanding that we have a previous daily low. And there's also now this daily fair value gap here, which can be expected to be used as support. I like to go to the 4-hour. We can wait for Tuesday to play. So if Tuesday at 18 is opening lower first, inside of what? The daily fair value gap, inside of this previous daily low, we can now expect price to do what? We can expect price to offer a potential signature to go higher. Well, when's our next key time? 9 o'clock or 9:30. So to me, we can look, see if there's any SMT inside here. Here's 3 a.m. No SMT really. Or I guess this could be your SMT, but I don't really use these as. But you can use this as a order block. Not my ideal entry. But this is something that I'd be looking at to see if price offers support from this area as well as midnight. And then this is where I would just look to the lower time frame to see if anything was really clear. Wait for 9:30. And so this is where you can literally just find this really easy continuation signature on the lower time frame. And even the 5 minute is very clean. So you could literally just long this now. This is your Judas swing post 9:30. Takes the low. and then price goes higher. What are we targeting? This potential high, but obviously just a 2R. So that would be an easy Tuesday trade. You can wait for the retest or enter on the closure. My stop loss would be right here. And then a 2R trade would be here. Let's see if it gets hit or not. Stop would break even above these highs, so we would have been broke even on this trade. But I think it eventually goes up. I'm not sure. I don't think I was not trading here. Okay, so it took all day to expand. But again, this is why you have to have lower expectations for the time of the week that you're trading. So this is why I said to you guys earlier, like way earlier in the beginning of the video, or the live, that why I had lower expectations when I showed you guys my winning trades with how I was taking profit, etc. And so this is what I mean. If you would have never moved your stop loss, you would have never been hit, right? But it literally would have taken all day for you to get a 2R trade. This is not what price is normally like. But back to your question, going to how do I frame the next day? You can anticipate now. See how this candle open lows into the previous daily low and then has this large expansion higher. This is the exact signature that you're looking for to just understand that Wednesday is going to offer a continuation at least until this high. And it does that exactly. So just how the candle bodies close after engaging certain areas in price. And then same thing with this Wednesday. You can go into Thursday being cautious because of why? Well, it took the external range. It took all of the previous daily highs. This is previous weekly high. I'm just yapping. No, it wasn't. But it took out the last 2 days previous daily highs and the external range high. You're sitting inside of a bearish daily for value gap. And then now you can see it closes back inside the range. So this is an indecisive candle. And that is another reason why you can't just be overly bearish or overly bullish just going into the next day. And then you can see the lower time frame supports that price is really not in a great area to be looking for anything significant until obviously you get that lower time frame signature. You can still trade, and I did trade Thursday, but you guys can see it's not as easy as framing the continuation from Tuesday's reversal into that high here. And I think Wednesday actually just took the high probably just like overnight. Yeah. So, oh no, I took it during the. It also took. Wow, it took a long time. The same thing. This is why I. This is how. This is why I traded Wednesday. Because the external range high was there, and I understood that Tuesday put in the continuation. That's why I took ES. All right, y'all. You have any other questions? The NQ daily candle looks like it's currently in a discount zone. Let's see where the current. Yeah, I mean, if you look, if you want to use this swing low to this swing high, you can see that price is in a discount. Well, not right now, but it was, right? So again, that's why you have to be careful and kind of just let price do its thing. So that's what we're going to be doing. The live will be on my YouTube channel, Quan. I'm gonna upload it after we're done here. Will you explain SMT one time? It's just a cracking correlation between correlated assets. So it's just when one asset of the three, ideally you just use ES and NQ. I'll use YM when YM is correlated, but YM is not always correlated. All that means is YM doing the same thing as the NASDAQ and ES. A lot of the times it's not, so I will not use that as SMT when they're not correlated. So primarily SMT between NASDAQ and ES, and it's just when one or the other makes a lower low or a higher high. And then if you get expansion away from that area, so in this case, you guys can see here is that swing low on NASDAQ. I'll do it like this so it's easier to see. Here's this low here, Wednesday, August 6th. It was taken on NASDAQ. So now we have SMT here with ES. And then you guys can see what ES does, right? Down close candles, closed above. This should be used as support until this high. The high was taken. Now we wait. It's literally as simple as that. And you can confirm this on the lower time frame when you get ideally a 4-hour CSD after the SMT. So to me, this is what I'd be looking at. Unless there was more SMT here. Nah, there wasn't. So all I need is a candle closure above there. So you can see, unfortunately, it's such a large candle closure, but this is how I confirm that now this low is protected. For me, I like to use, if there's a daily SMT, I need the 4-hour CSD to confirm it. Because if you wait for the 4-hour, it's very easy then to frame your protected high and low, most likely for at least a week. So the 4-hour order blocks will show you guys a lot of clarity and will save you from a lot of losses. Intraday, hourly is fine. 30-minute. I really like to use the 30-minute. But ideally, I'm using a higher time frame level to just confirm that 1 to 5 minute entry. Any other questions, peoples? Thank you, Quan. Appreciate it, bro. Means a lot, seriously. I hope I'm able to help a little bit. This is way longer than I intended, so I apologize. But it will be recorded. Or, I mean, it is recorded. It'll be on YouTube. I'm glad, Faded. That's what I'm here for, bro. Yes, a 4-hour order block is very, very helpful. Yes, Mr. Bruh. Life Impact, appreciate you, bro. 5-minute order blocks are not really respected. They are with context and for intraday. But like I'll use a 5-minute order block after like a hourly or a 15-minute PD array is also being used as a sponsored level. So just like if I already have all my intraday bias, ideally I like to use an hourly fair value gap or such PD array to then support a lower time frame 3-minute PD array for as an entry. PD array is just all of the ICT concepts that he teaches. Fair value gap, order block, breaker, inversion fair value gap, whatever your guys' entry model is. That's all PD array is. It's just premium discount array. It's just his special wording that he uses to try and confuse everybody. Yeah, Life Impact. 4-hour candles are legit. What's my YouTube channel? Just Rob Trades. I'll post a link in the alerts when it's uploaded. It's just this. Rob Trades. Should find it. I think it might be like Rob Trades 2 or something, but I'm not exactly sure. So 4-hour order blocks create high probability protected highs and lows. Yep. Order blocks are the most precise way to place a stop loss. That's why this is a perfect example on gold. I'll go over this real quick and then check if y'all have any more questions, and then I'll let y'all get out of here. See how I was expecting this low to stay protected. See how all of these PD rays got ran through, but the swing low of the down close candles. Same thing here. The fair value gap gets inversed, quote unquote, here, and then you get face ripped. So that's why bias, etc., all that stuff, narrative, has to come first. And like, again, down close candle, more down close candles with the fair value gap. This is an easy long. Like, this is something where you can load up long dated or longer dated options and then hold for this sort of move. And you can see it's almost a 3-hour trade. But it's like all about waiting. You can play either, but it's just like not the order block swing low is going to be the highest, like the most, how do I even say this? It's going to be, you have the highest probability of being protected there. Because wicks do the damage, right, in fair value gaps. So you would have to wait for the candle body to close. That's why candle bodies always tell the story. The wicks are just like a distraction. So that's what I mean, like this would be where your stop loss would have to be. This would be where your stop loss would have to be. And you can squeeze them tighter on the lower time frame, etc., but we're not going to go there. This would be your stop loss, etc. So the top of the order block is a protected high and the bottom is a protected low. Yes. But like it's not going to be this low, right? Like when you have a down close candle, it's going to be the swing low. Doesn't matter if it's a down close candle or not, right? Like the swing low doesn't have to be a down close candle. This is what's important, right? These down close candles that ran out the low and then they get closed above, but this is where your protected low would be, not right here. And you can see if your stop loss was here, you would have got taken out. So you saw the tap back into the CSD and saw it close back above. Yeah. Got it. So the swing low of a 4-hour order block is the protected low, and the swing high is now my protected high. Yes. That is the most secure way to place a stop loss is an order block. Let me rephrase that. A large down close, a large candle body is your preferred order block. Down close candles for bullish order blocks. Up close candles for bearish order blocks. No, I don't think I've ever made one, Quan, but I have. This guy makes a great video. I always recommend this guy, Dan Dowd. He's legit. He's helped me a lot. Really, really nice guy. Anything else from anybody? One last hoorah, perhaps? Yes, sir, Mr. Bruh. Yeah, Mr. Bruh. Just the reaction will tell what happens. But most likely when they're that high, we'll probably just take both of them. Yeah, try and identify order blocks in real time. That will help you the most. Yeah, of course, Boss Hog. Thanks for the blessing. Anybody else? Last call? We've been in here for a long time, so I apologize, but I hope it was helpful. Thank you, Mr. Bruh. Appreciate it. Me and Bev are going to go live this week, I think. Try. Yeah, Faded. A lot of good stuff in this one. I appreciate it, though. Alright, y'all. Have a great rest of your night. I will not be trading tomorrow. I hope none of you do. It's a half day. If you do, just be careful. Have lower expectations. Enjoy your. Was it Labor Day? I think it's Labor Day. But enjoy your holiday. Good night, guys.